Hello and welcome to Not Your Typical Solopreneur. And in this episode, we're going to be talking to Julie Hirschberg, who is the owner and founder of Reactive Physical Therapy and Wellness. And she is doing some really interesting and innovative things with her clinical practice, which goes beyond just seeing patients one on one. She has online communities and memberships for both patients and clinicians. She's making a huge impact in the world in functional neurological disorders. And I'm so excited to have her on the show. Uh, we know each other because I work for Julie actually at Reactive. I'm a physical therapist there. And a big part of our online business journey was together in starting and basically starting from the ground up, building and running what is now an over 6-figure online education business for clinicians. And everything that we learned from there has just trickled into more of what's happening inside the clinical practice. She's just such a wonderful person with such a unique and creative, innovative brain. And so I'm so excited for you to get to meet her and hear her story of basically being forced into entrepreneurship. She lives with rheumatoid arthritis. She's a mom of two, and she is just a brilliant clinician. She's a researcher and I would say a friend of mine. And I am so happy to have her here. So let's listen in. Well, thanks, Julie, for joining me on this episode. You're actually the very first guest that I'm having for the podcast, which is very cool. I feel like it's like a full circle moment because I feel like
know.
you started your online kind of business journey before me because I work for you. And then together we went on this journey of in PT school, you don't get any education about marketing, any education about how to start or run a business. And so I think we were both kind of learning together as we were building this kind of
Yeah.
educational platform. And so yeah, it's very cool to have you here and then talking about your entrepreneurial journey. Before we get started, I don't know, would it be helpful to share a little bit about yourself, maybe things outside of being a business owner that you love doing or that make you your person, who you are? Yeah.
Yeah, what an honor to be your first person. And yeah, Brittany, I feel like we actually did business school together or
Yeah.
something,
Yes.
like all of the stuff we never got in PT school. We dove in and we did all these trainings and we were figuring things out and just learning on the fly. And it was also so fun in the process. I think I mean, to introduce myself, I
Uh,
think something we share in common is we just love learning. We're so curious about things. It's gotten me into a lot of trouble.
yeah.
uh, as a kid, I'll never forget that my grandpa would say, like, oh, get the tape recorder out of here, meaning my brain.
Yeah.
Like, I would just sit there and listen to everything that was happening and take it all in. I take too much information in sometimes and it's hard to filter. So that's definitely my brain. And I know you and I have bonded over having really quirky neurodivergent brains that do funky things. And I think as I get older, it's just like embracing that rather than trying to fight that.
Mhm.
I think as a mom, and a business owner and a wife and just like a human living in this crazy world, you have much less capacity than you had maybe in your 20s
Yeah.
or 30s,
It's
like
different.
before pre-kids, like before
Yeah.
I was sleep deprived till having kids. I think I function pretty well and with good abilities to mask things and
Mhm.
manage, and then boom, you have kids. So such a big part of my identity is being a mom, and so many decisions that I've made through being an entrepreneur have been around centering my family,
Mhm.
and that's been really important to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel I mean, so I've been working at Reactive since 2018, so it's been what is that, 6 years now? So I feel like I've seen kind of this evolution of the practice as a whole and then also the business, and then together we were kind of I feel like trailblazing random side quests for ourselves. And I feel like just your story is so interesting because, and maybe we can start with like how you even became an entrepreneur. I kind of get the sense that you didn't really seek this out. Like you weren't like, I'm made of this stuff, or like I
No.
am like I'm the like I don't know. Some people also have like families of entrepreneurs and they just kind of like see that and then they do that too. But so I'd love to know like how did you even become one? And then, like, we can talk about maybe the journey and the evolution of kind of where you've taken things as a physical therapist and as a practice owner. And then I think where you've basically kind of innovated, I think, what clinical practice and healthcare businesses could really look like and the impact they can make on people's lives. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, kicking and screaming, Brittany, to be like, I would feel like I was like pulled
Forced
into it.
entrepreneurship. Yeah. Yeah.
Forced, yes, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I think about my like family of origin, like very blue collar,
Hmm.
like my dad didn't go to college and he was a mechanic. My mom went to college like later in my life and became a teacher. My grandpa was a butcher. Like it was like, "No, work for the government. That's great," right?
Yeah.
And so I never ever saw this, despite the like millions of lemonade stands that I did as a kid. I never saw this for myself. And like literally immediately in practice, like went into working in a residency in a public hospital, right? In
Hmm.
a county hospital, and really loved working in a big health system and academia, and ended up in the research realm of that when I decided to have kids.
Hmm.
And then that's when, and I think this is very common, like that's where the story shifted. um,
Yeah.
was working in, I actually moved into the outpatient setting, working in a company that was quite a distance from my home, like over an hour commute, pregnant,
Hmm.
and ended up having my kids. And in all honesty, I'm the type of person that's also fiercely loyal. I was like, I'm gonna work this out. I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna pump in the car. I'm gonna do all of
I
those
love
things.
this, okay.
I
Yeah,
pumped driving all the time. And this was
yeah,
before there were hands-free pumps. So it was
yeah,
definitely like
like, you've
one
got
arm.
cords, like, all over.
I got
Yeah,
cords all over the place. I had
yeah.
one hand holding
Uh,
things. I mean, it was very stressful, but I was willing to make that work, right?
mhm,
And it was actually that job laid me off.
mhm,
They said what you're doing with neuro, it's nice, but it's just not um it's not helpful for us, meaning helpful money wise for
mhm,
them. It was a primarily orthopedic clinic. So and doing neurology things and chronic health things like I did was not really in their model. So that was very hard. and and it also forced me to be looking at other things. I took per
mhm,
diem positions and I was working part-time at that time. So because I had two babies at that
yeah,
time. So two under two, and so I started just craving something different. And honestly, the layoff was a little bit of a fire, a little
yeah,
bit of a like, what do you mean this can't be done? Like, this has to be able to be done. Um, and I couldn't really find a position that I loved that
mhm,
was like as challenging and kind of demanding that I want, but also flexible. Like that is really a really hard combo.
mhm.
For my mind, for my brain, I needed challenge,
Yeah,
I needed demands, and I also needed time to go to mommy and me music class.
yeah,
So I needed both of those things. It didn't exist. And so that was the start. Yeah, I didn't want it. I looked for many other things and I couldn't find it.
yeah,
And so that was the start of things, is starting a practice that I could do I could see patients when my sister was available to watch my kids.
Mhm.
She was my nanny. I could see patients on the weekend when my husband could watch the kids, and I could do those things that I wanted with them
Mhm.
and and do a type of practice that like met my standards, very high
Mm.
standards.
Yeah. Yeah.
so so that was like finding some sort of like fulfilling balance on all realms. Um, and I very quickly realized I know this is for solopreneurs. I hated solopreneurship. I didn't want to be by
Mm.
myself.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and my business grew very fast. And I think for me, it was a healthcare thing. I can do other things by myself, but healthcare, I wanted to be with other people. And I very quickly hired somebody into
Yeah.
the practice within 6 months because I was not because I was kind of lonely from a
Yeah.
healthcare standpoint, but also we were growing very fast, so
Yeah.
I needed somebody to.
Yeah, and I think this is a good thing that you brought up with this concept of solopreneurship and like this, because I think everyone kind of starts on their own. And then there comes a time where it has to be a decision of like, do you hire people or like, do you stay solo? And then do you try to get creative around that? And I think, with your journey, like and in healthcare in particular, it's like you could be solo, but then you can't serve more people with that kind of
Mhm.
one-to-one model. And if
Yeah.
you're getting lots of referrals, right, like having more people on your team is kind of like the next natural step for a clinic. Um, and it makes me think of a couple of thoughts. I'm going to try to hold those questions because, like, I think this is kind of like the future of clinical practice or like owning healthcare businesses is like questioning that one-to-one model a little bit. And for many different
Mhm.
reasons, with like healthcare system stuff on top of like just time capacity or just like impact you want to make on people's lives. So we'll get there. So pause.
Mhm.
But I had this other question for you because as you were talking, it kind of made me think because you weren't really like looking to become an entrepreneur, but I'm kind of curious because I feel like I've been hearing kind of people talk about this in different ways where they didn't seek it, but like unknowingly they were like built for entrepreneurship. Do you feel like that's true?
I do not think I was. I think I had to learn so much, but
Yeah.
I will say, like, my brain probably actually thrives in this.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't quite think I was, like, built for it. I think that I
Yeah.
had a lot of learning to do. I didn't believe in myself.
Mm, mm.
I didn't know how to advocate for myself. I had terrible boundaries. I had no examples of leadership in this realm. So from that sense, no. From like a bit of a brain drive to like try new things.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes, and I would say, like, I brought that everywhere I went. I brought that to when I was in school, right? I brought that to my jobs. I was always like, "Ooh, could we do this? Could we try this?"
Yeah.
Like, that piece, yes, and I think there's like I've never considered myself a super creative person, but I think there is like a creativity to like drive
Uh-huh.
to do something different that is like part of the like building blocks of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I feel like that's the kind of common thread that I've heard from, like, some different people about, like, even, like, in the creator space, maybe, like, they've always filmed videos when they were kids or, like,
Mhm.
created these little, like, products, that they would, like, kind of sell to their family members or the lemonade stands or these things that are, like, there, but it's yeah, it's also not just that you can innovate, but it's the doing that gets really hard and the, like, belief in yourself and also just, like, the risk taking, can be really
Yeah.
scary and, like
I'm not a risk taker
yeah,
either. Like,
yeah.
I am like, like a money saver,
Mhm.
grew up with very little means. So
Mm,
I think
mhm.
that risk was like another piece that wasn't in my favor. So these were all, I think part of this too is I kind of believe anybody can be an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. Like, I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, if I can, you definitely can. Because
Yeah.
I didn't have it in my
Yeah.
genes. I didn't have the like risk taking piece. I just didn't have like a drive to be kind of running a business in any way. So, um, I think like those were things that I had to overcome and learn, but that also drove me to like learn things, which
Yeah.
makes my brain very happy. So in some senses, like not being prepared actually was part of like the fun of the journey.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like always a fun new adventure. Like there's tons of novelty. But also like baked in with like the high pressure stress. Like if you're one of those high performer, high stress like people that lived your life, you're like that the whole time. Like then yeah, it's like there's lots of that pressure
And you're
cooker stuff
crying on
in
the
there. Yeah.
floor a lot
Yeah.
too,
But
which is like
loving the novelty while crying.
both sides, both
Yeah.
sides, and couldn't at all be doing that without some sort of support,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think I would have crashed and burned and not like
Hmm.
arose again because without some sort of support. And like a big part of that is having like my husband being like, you're gonna do this,
Uh-huh.
like I believe in you, and like literally picking me up off of the kitchen floor when I was
Yeah.
crying on it. um and like being around other people to who are in this process, like you too, Brittany, when
Hmm.
we went and launched Brain Bites in the midst of a pandemic,
Hmm.
and grew that, like doing that together, learning together was
Hmm.
like a big part of feeling like you're not alone in
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, I do think, like, being able to connect with other people in those and especially, like, now, like, everything has dramatically shifted and changed, like, with AI and also, like, how even online marketing works anymore. It's very, very different space now, and so, yeah, it's nice to be able to talk to other people and kind of be like, what's what's going on? Or, like, also just, like, building together in a way, like, I mean, when we worked on stuff, like I mean, I know this is the thing is, like, this is where it's like, this was your business, right? And so there I feel like you were kind of taking on a lot of the risk, and then it was kind of like for me, it was a playground because it's like, you know and maybe that was actually good for us to have that combination together because it's like, I could take the risk, and, like, with you too, like,
Mhm.
and be able to try those new things together. And then we could problem solve when it wasn't working. Like, there's been many times where we were like, "What is happening, and why isn't this
Yeah.
working?" And then
Yeah. No, it wasn't
and then
working, and
move
then we
on.
would, like,
Yeah.
innovate and
Eh
try something new,
yeah.
and then innovate again and try something new, and, like,
Yeah.
were those times hard? Yes,
Yes.
but,
Yeah.
but also the hard stuff becomes the fulfilling
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
If it had been, like, easy peasy the whole time, I feel like I don't we would have probably actually ended it.
Yeah. I know.
Like
I know. Yeah. It would've been too boring, and we would've just,
yeah, it would
like,
be
moved
boring.
on.
Mhm. That's actually a problem because sometimes we, like,
Yeah.
overcomplicated things because 'cause we're like, "Wee!
I know.
Let's
I
add
know.
more."
I know. That's like I think that's like the theme of our journey together is wanting to do so many new things and then like realizing, whoa, that had like 10 Pandora's boxes deep of like
Yes.
other tasks or like problems and we never thought about that because we didn't know because you don't know until you try it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But then that's also like, I think where like you really learn to find what it is that you want to focus on in your business. Like it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, this works for me or my audience like really benefits from this or like there's a better impact doing something this way and that's where you
Mhm.
can really you have to like do the hard lessons to understand like what actually I think works for you for sure.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
I ask a couple questions now about you have rheumatoid
Mhm.
arthritis. I feel like that came out really weird. And I'm curious because like, that like, this is a condition that's lifelong, and it's something that impacts you, from your health and well-being standpoint, and just curious about, like, how are you managing, like, running this really, like, very busy business and, like, taking care of your health and well-being, and also just, like, maybe your kind of journey in that process. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and that really was, like, part of the, like, journey of even starting
Mhm.
everything because I got diagnosed early in my PT career, and I couldn't walk or use my hands, which was
Mhm.
really problematic as a PT,
Yeah.
and I had to take time and leave, and honestly, every where I worked was incredible with that. And that, like,
Mhm.
in that informs me a lot with how I run my own business, right? But, you know, I woke up with swollen joints this morning. And for the most part, just like background wise, my rheumatoid arthritis is very well controlled. I even in my medical record, I will write it's in remission. Like it's
Mhm.
really not a like forefront character in my story at all. But some days I wake up and I have swollen joints and it's hard to use my hands or it's painful to walk and things like that. And I just need more time.
Mhm.
And I know that I need certain things um, to like not wake up that way. One of the reasons I woke up that way was that my husband got food poisoning.
Oh,
He
no.
was up every hour
Yeah.
of the night, and so was I.
Yeah.
Sleep. This is going to seem so trite, but for me, and I've known this since I was a little kid, like I'm a sleeper, and if I sleep, my brain functions. If I sleep,
Mhm.
my body functions, and that is and I sleep really well, and I sleep a lot, like, 8
Mhm.
hours at least. When I don't get that, so hello motherhood,
Yeah.
like, my brain
Yeah.
is a raging mess, and,
Yeah.
like, and these things, like arthritis or anything else, just can go really awry. So, like, part of my own journey and, like, understanding is, like, I need to have a business that I sleep. Right?
Mhm.
Like, I have to be able to sleep. Other things that help me are things like exercise. I have to exercise. For me, that means signing up for marathons.
Mhm.
Some people call me intense, Brittany. And I was like talking about marathons the other day, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I see where your daughter gets her intensity." And I was like, "Oh, from me?" um, but like I need some accountability, so I sign up for marathons. I train with my sister. It's very like
Mhm.
social and fun, but like I have to have these built into my like day. And
Mhm.
today I was thinking about this because we're recording it in the morning. At this point in my life, I'm a morning person, but now
Mm.
I have to get that sleep, and then I have to exercise, and then
Mhm.
I'm like good to go for the day. So in reality, 9 o'clock should be like the start of my day
Mm.
because that
Mhm.
allows me to actually like shower and
Mhm.
eat and like
Yeah.
do things after I exercise. So, like that being an entrepreneur and business owner allows me to like set that day, right? And
Yeah.
manage my time so I can manage a chronic disease that I will live for my for the rest of my life, but keep it in remission
Mhm.
because I can have the lifestyle that I know is needed
Yeah.
to keep it that way.
And, I think that's where, like, a lot of people are forced into entrepreneurship. Like, I've talked to people
Mhm.
where it's like, I cannot do the 9 to 5 anymore, and, like, there's no freedom for, like, even, like, the sensory space that you work in. Like, you're forced to go into an office that, like, doesn't work for you, and you're, like, fighting for accommodations, and then on top of that,
Mm.
it's, like, a specific schedule, like, for you, like, starting by 9 is what's going to be optimal for your health. So, like, if the job is requiring that of you. So, yeah, I think a lot of people kind of enter entrepreneurship both wanting it, but also like needing it in that way.
Mhm.
And then there was this kind of like interesting, I just recently read this like labor report where they were showing that people with disabilities more likely will choose essentially like solopreneurship or entrepreneurship over working for a 9 to 5 because it gives them that freedom. And some people are even
Mm.
like seeking that for managing their like health and well-being is like, I will have choice, agency. Like, I feel like this the word agency, which is like a word we love because we
Yes.
like talk a lot about it with like our neurological patients. But yeah, I think agency and being able to like have control over your life and well-being is so important for your health and
Yeah.
well-being. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also like I mean 9 to 5 actually sounds really lovely for me. Like
Yeah.
I think entrepreneurship, this is the part no one taught me and I didn't plan for, like, is 24/7
Yeah.
also.
Can be,
So,
yes.
like, that's a part that
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still learning. I actually do really well with a schedule, and I
Mm,
do
mhm,
better actually with a schedule. So open-endedness, not super helpful for me. And open-endedness means like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., right? And so
mhm,
I like it's been 14 years of running reactive and it's had many iterations. I have worked way more than a 9 to 5 in those years than
mhm,
I ever thought. I thought I was going to be doing less or working less hours, and it was way more stress, way more, like, catastrophic events than I could ever imagine. Um, and but it's been a learning process to try to contain that,
mhm,
and I think that is something I wish I had learned sooner is
mm.
how all encompassing it is to, like, have another baby that is your
Yeah.
job
Your
or that
business.
is
Yeah,
your, like,
yeah.
business, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of, like, I just wanna say kind of myths out there, like, of a 4-hour work week and all of this
Mhm.
stuff. No.
Yeah.
Like, I,
Agreed. Yeah.
perhaps for a different type of brain than mine,
Yeah.
but, I think that has been quite a learning process for entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a good point to bring up because there's a lot of like and it's marketing, right? Like it's
It
marketing
is
for people to
marketing.
buy like someone's program or whatever. Like you could have like 2-hour work days and like make I don't know, 20K months or something like that. It's like the classic
Yes.
like I someone will
Classic.
stop the scroll hook, right? And so
Yes.
um that that's just not necessarily true. Like, I mean, it depends on, like, what you're saying is, like, this took you 14 years to learn about yourself, that having
Yeah.
a schedule and I think especially, like, brains like ours, like, we like to work. Like, it's engaging for your brain.
It's
It's
actually good for my
stimulating.
brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like I think in some ways it's and I know like we've kind of talked about like work life balance and is that even a there's a truth there? I don't know. But like I feel like it's kind of like when your work though is like fulfilling and rewarding in that way, it is like energizing and I think that is good for your health and well-being. And then it's like
Mhm.
there's also your values like you could sit there and work all day, but then you have a family that you want to spend time with, or like there's other things like, like I need to like eat, sleep, exercise, right? Like there's these other things like basic life needs. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like figuring out how you put that all together in what could be also a demanding like situation. And starting a business is not like you'd start off 2 hours a day. Like it's gonna be like huge
No.
front load of that, a year of learning and like
Yeah.
trialing and struggling a little bit. And so yeah, I feel like there's a lot of myths out there and there's also a lot of like strategies. And it just seems like it really boils down in my mind and kind of what you shared is like understanding yourself. Like what do you need? Like prioritizing
Yeah.
that. Like how do you build something that works for you? And then like, you brought up lots of really great points earlier, like boundaries, but, like, what does that really mean, I think, for you
I
and, like,
know.
in your
Right.
health well-being or, like, your mental health and, with your clients, or is it just, like, even with yourself? I just yeah, like, there's so many, like, elements there, where it's not so simple. You can't just be like, "Yeah, if you start an online business, you're gonna, like, have so much freedom." It's like, no,
I
yeah, no.
no.
Yeah, no.
No, but that is a marketing ploy,
Yes. Mhm.
and I will say, do I have I'm also 25 years into my career, right?
Mhm.
Do I have more freedom now in some ways than my first job? Yes, I
Mhm.
do. But in some ways I don't. Because I'm on call if
Yeah.
something goes awry, right? So I think there's like a give and take, and there's, you know, I also run a company now that has 34 employees,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so there are things that I'm working to get better at in me not being the linchpin in all of the processes
Yeah.
that occur, for example. So um I think I'm constantly learning, but I
Mhm.
think I you and I took a lot of courses and things where you're
Mhm.
like, yeah, 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 and you kind of think that somebody has the answer and you're just going to
Yeah.
follow it, it's going to work. And then you realize, oh, but they're a very different person than I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like bro, bro, bro. And like I'm the
Yeah.
opposite of a bro, bro, bro.
Yeah.
And and so for me, part of that journey has been like even like going to my own therapy,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And really understanding myself, the things I am really strong in, those areas where I really struggle. And a lot of it is in the like mental health realm that
Mhm.
has limited my capacity in
Mm.
running a business. So taking
Mm.
care of myself, like mental health wise, and learning about myself mental health wise has been more effective than a course by a guru.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
1,000 times over.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like they're not running your business, like, you're having to do that. So, yeah.
Yes.
Julie, we have maybe a couple do you have a couple more minutes?
Yeah,
Like 2 or
yeah,
3 more minutes? Okay,
yeah.
because I wanted to wrap up kind of talking about, kind of like the future direction of where you feel like kinda healthcare and,
Mhm.
like, healthcare business for maybe private practice owners, might be going, and I feel like Reactive's already like, like, I just see so many, like, ads on Instagram now, and I'm like, "Okay, we've been doing that for, like, like 5 years now." You know what I mean? So, like, I think Reactive's kind of at the forefront of where things might be heading, but I'm just kind of curious
Mhm.
about your thoughts and also, like, things that you are doing to because I think at the heart of it, and for a lot of clinicians, it's like, how do I make an impact and how do I help people? But how do I do that
Yeah.
without burning out? How do I do that with being able to pay my student loans and like, cover the cost of my business, have like a quality life? And so yeah, I don't know. Those are lots of questions.
Yeah.
2 minutes go.
Yeah. Okay, 2 minutes, every dream I have.
Yeah.
I mean, I first feel, like, so proud of the
Mhm.
trajectory of reactive. Like, I go into work, and it's a, like, sensory safe space,
Mhm.
right? It's a space where I can attend to my needs, and so can other people, and that, like, just brings me so much joy. So from like a physical space, from a place of being, it is like a dream for me.
Mhm.
And I want more. Like in my mind, I want it. I continuously want to make a space where other people like me as clinicians can thrive.
Mhm.
And that means like really good pay and benefits and family leave. Like, I would love the reactive family leave to look like Sweden, right? Like,
Mhm.
that is like hashtag goals. All of this stuff requires money. So we have to innovate what we're doing, right?
Mhm.
We provide like extremely, in fact, I think we might be the best in the world in integrated care
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
chronic diseases. And that is amazing. And there's so many other people
Mhm.
that we could help. So we started our online memberships for other folks. We have 200 people now that we're able to impact. Some of them have gone from like 14-hour seizures to
Mhm.
no seizures and back to
Mhm.
work simply by working in a group setting in a membership, Brittany.
Mhm.
That kind of blows my mind. It
Yeah.
exceeds my expectations.
Yeah.
And I think there is a world of opportunity to help more people that
Mhm.
way. Have we gotten it right completely? No. Have we had like massive success stories? Yes. So we're figuring out how to keep growing and
Mhm.
replicating that. I taught my first class in a long time, Brittany, which was a dance party class
Uh-huh. Of
in
course.
person and online. We said it was like a wedding and we're going to have
Uh-huh.
a dance party. It was so much fun. And I'm going, oh my gosh, there's one of the clients from the UK is attending my dance party class,
That's
right?
so cool.
And
Mhm.
so being able to spend an hour and have 20 people impacted by my dance party
Mhm.
class is so fulfilling to
Mhm.
me as a
Mhm.
person. And so that is like where I think many things can go. At the same time, absolutely adore seeing people in person. And so
Yeah.
I think there's actually a really beautiful balance of
Mhm.
having a larger impact and doing some really meaningful one-on-one things that can be kind of the sweet spot. We didn't get in healthcare
Mhm.
typically to be like, I'm going to impact 1,000,000 people at
Yeah.
once. But we do want that impact. And we
Yeah.
want to have these like very, this brings meaning to me to sit down with somebody and their tears of like joy and
Mhm.
relief and like they're doing something for the first time. Like I will never give that up.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's such a special experience to do that, like, kind of
Mm.
one-on-one, like,
We're
work, and you get
so
to, like
lucky.
I know, as PTs especially, like, physicians are
Yeah.
seeing clients maybe, like, for 15 minutes once a year or something like that, and, we're seeing people for an hour, maybe multiple times
Yeah.
per week, like, getting to I
Yeah.
remember people's dogs' names and, like, random facts
Yep.
and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, it's a really cool profession to be able to have that kind of relationship with people.
It
And
is.
I also feel like, yeah, like with what you were sharing, I'm going to give a little context because so there's at Reactive there's online memberships for people with certain types of neurologic conditions,
Yeah.
and that are geared towards essentially empowering people and educating people, to be able to either work with their healthcare teams with more informed like information, and then also tools to like kind of help themselves through that like education. And yeah, I've heard some like just crazy amazing stories. So like if you're a healthcare professional kind of thinking about doing some sort of like online community or like group coaching type thing, this I think can be a really powerful way. And I think part of the power of it is that there's people talking to other people, and it's not just like a like, sometimes there can be forums where I hear patients talking about this sometimes where it just feels like everyone's really down or, like, they're not getting help or
Yeah.
information, so, like, you being
Yeah.
that healthcare professional who's setting up, like, a space with, like, a mission for transformation, I think can be really empowering, and when people
Mhm.
connect with that same mission, then they support each other, and, I think people seeing other people like them is important too, because the people that we see or work with, like, often they're the only person they
They're
know
the only
that
one.
and
Yeah.
so hearing other stories and knowing they're not alone also, I think, is a huge, like, social support impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, for sure. And then accessibility to care, I think is a big,
Yes.
pro too. So, and then we also have at Reactive, we've like this is the other piece I think that's really innovative is training clinicians too with the Brain
Yeah.
Bites community, the online courses for like these niche topics. And I think again, like if you are someone who's like a healthcare professional, like checking out reactive education and seeing like what it is that's being done because the impact can be like almost like quadruple fold because you're like helping a clinician learn a skill, learn about a condition that's
Mhm.
rare or like really not well understood. And then now there's 100 clinicians out there in the United States and the world that might be able to help someone better. And so access to care expands again. So, yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah. It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool.
Anything else before? Because I wanna let you go, but yeah, any
I
other last
know.
burning thoughts or anything like
Yeah.
that might help somebody who's kind of on their journey, solopreneurship or
Yeah.
entrepreneurship? Mhm.
It's funny because the thing I have to sign off for is to go to therapy.
Okay, yeah.
So I have therapy in the middle of the
Yeah.
day.
Uh,
And you know what? Something that took me so long, and this has been like a therapy journey, is to actually feel that I am worth that time to go to therapy. And that's like a small component of my day, but that I'm worth being paid as an entrepreneur, right? Like the
mhm.
first thing that we do is not pay ourselves. And so something I'm before I go into therapy, this will be really good. He'll be very proud of me. Um one of the things that I have been working on in therapy is that all of this good that I want to bring to other people, that I'm deserving of it as well. And there's very deep traumatic reasons why I might not feel that way, but like I end up getting this sticker that says I deserve good things
Yeah.
too. And that has been something probably more than anything else. So this like personal therapy journey of mine that has helped my entrepreneurial journey is to like believe I deserve good things in the business. Our business deserves good things.
Mhm.
And and honestly, it kind of had to start with me. I couldn't just keep giving that away to other people. So that go to therapy.
Top tip,
Top
all
tip.
all things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Julie, so much for joining me and being
Yeah.
my first guest. This was really fun.
Oh, so fun. And
And
I just love you, Brittany, and I love
oh,
chatting with you and I love working with you. And I'm so honored to be your first guest.
all right. That is the end of today's podcast. I'm so excited that we got to speak to Julie. And in the show notes below, if you are interested in following Reactive, we'll have the Instagram handle in there. If you're a clinician, then I am going to be putting in there the link to the Brain Bites community, which is for clinicians who are working with people with very complex chronic health conditions. This is a really great membership for PTs and OTs who really feel kind of like they're stuck on this island alone, whether you're the only person in your clinic seeing these kinds of cases. We have some people that are literally on an island and they're the only clinician out there treating patients that have really complex chronic health conditions. It's a great place to have a community and learn some of the most up to date stuff in clinical practice for physical therapy and occupational therapy. I also will link below the if you're someone with a health condition and you've been looking for more education and resources and support, I will link Reactive's patient membership so that you can have that support and care that you really deserve to have, and any other kind of resources that will be helpful. So, thank you so much for listening today. I hope hearing Julie's story really, I think, helped I hope that hearing Julie's story really, I think, made you feel seen and heard. I feel like one of the biggest challenges with entrepreneurship is this concept of how do you take care of your health and well being. And while entrepreneurship can sound like freedom is given to you, it often has to be like made. You have to like actually make space for that. And understanding, I think, who you are, what you need, what your brain needs, what your body needs, and really trying to build the right kind of business around that, the right kind of supports around that, so that you can show up for your business and also so your business doesn't burn you out is so important. Until next time, keep blooming.